Previously on Locked On Canucks, Kyle and I took a look at projecting the sexiest possible roster for opening night. Now, we've seen the future. We've seen what Tocchet's going to do on opening night. We're going to talk about that next. But also, we just learned that Sebastian Aho signed 8 years, $9.5 million. What does that mean for Pettersson? That's all coming up next. It's Locked On Canucks, baby.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for hitting the play button on today's episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, Canucks writer and credentialed media member for Daily Hive Vancouver. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Go make every moment more and go visit fanduel.com/lockedon today to get started. And before we dive into the show, we want to thank you for listening to Locked On Canucks. Hey, you're here in late July. We freaking love you, baby. Guess what? It's your team every day. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. On today's show, again, I've seen the future, okay? I've been doing some meditating lately, and I saw what Rick Tocchet is going to do with your Vancouver Canucks on opening night. Again, this is going to be different from the line of projection that Kyle and I did, where we projected the sexiest roster possible for opening night. And we also want to take a look at, who are Tocchet's guys going to next season. But first and foremost, we got to talk a bit about Pettersson and Aho. But even before that, I got to introduce someone who I love even more than Elias Pettersson, and that's Kyle Bhawan. How you doing, brother?
Dude, I'm excited to get into some Pettersson and Aho comparisons in 2 to 3 minutes, okay? 2-3 minutes, because I got some things to talk about, for real. For real. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, your team every day. Hey, your Canucks every day, to be more specific. And man, oh man, I told the people the other day that Trevor Beggs was being a reckless father, and I'm surprised because he's such a genuine dude, a nice dude, a caring dude. But here he was on his birthday, and normally you're allowed to do whatever you want on your birthday, but look at this. Look at this. You're playing one of these beer games with your baby in your hand. And that is not cool, dude. That's like, yo, chill out. You can call a timeout, bro. It's not that serious. Like, you know what I'm saying, bro? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Because again, you seem to be a genuine dude, but apparently you take winning that serious. That's serious, It's really something.
Honestly, if I took winning that seriously, I don't think I'd have the baby in my arm, because it was throwing my game off for sure, man. I missed a few throws there. Hey, what can I say, man? You just once you have a kid or two, you just get the zone. You hold the baby. You know he's gonna be fine there. You always have so basically, I picked him up because he was crying in Hannah's cousin's arms, and I was like, oh, I'll just take him for a bit. It's all good. So I don't know. It's just parental instincts, man. Just gotta pick up your kid no matter what you're doing.
Dude, it's not the right thing to do, man. Honestly.
Why
Anyways,
not, man?
enough
Why
about your
not?
family, okay? Enough about your family. It's not a family show. It's Locked On Canucks. It's a hockey show. And we got to talk about the alien, okay? We also got to get to the comments, and we'll get to that at the end of the show. Shout out to the people watching this. One love to all the new subscribers. But again, we got to talk about the alien. Pettersson, his name is being brought up more in the market because of the contract Sebastian Aho just signed. And before you go in on comparing the two players, I got to say, I'm a huge Sebastian Aho fan. I think I know Carolina hasn't made the Cup final and whatnot, but I feel as if he's a proven playoff guy. Like, he plays in big moments. He can do his thing. He's good all over the ice, and he's just a phenomenal player. He's a bit of a POS too, which I like in players, for real. I'm a huge fan of his. That being said, Pettersson's a lot better.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go a lot better, but Pettersson is definitely a better version of Sebastian Aho. It's interesting because they actually do a lot of similar things. Sebastian Aho is a great 200-foot player, amazing offensive instincts. He's a play driver, can play anywhere on the ice, any situation. So Pettersson is the exact same thing, but he's just a little bit better, So I think I was kind of surprised Carolina got Aho for less than $10 million. So that's a win by them. But the difference between Carolina and Vancouver is that Carolina's got, arguably a Stanley Cup favorite right now. I wouldn't even say contender, but a Stanley Cup favorite. I think a lot of people are picking the Canes to win next season. The Vancouver Canucks, on the other hand, are, a bottom-dwelling team, or, maybe at best in the mushy middle right now. So
You nailed it. Bro, you nailed it. You don't have to say anything else, bro. You nailed it. And I think that's why they got him for under $10 million. I think they've proven to be competitive, and the systems and the culture is one that you can buy into, believe into. Like, you want to be competitive, you want to play meaningful games. It gives you that oomph when you're an athlete, right? Like, you know what? I'll take a little bit less instead of going to the market next season because things are good here. Hockey is fun here. Winning is possible here. And they probably saved, in my opinion, you're better at this stuff than I am, but I think they saved anywhere from at least $500,000 to $1 million on this contract, just at the least. It was surprising to me. It really was.
Yeah, I honestly, like, you kind of, I was busy at the day job. You kind of broke the news to me right before we came on, to be honest. I wasn't even going to lead with this, but yeah, I was just pulling up the Athletics player card right now. So we talked about it on past episodes or last week, how, Elias Pettersson and David Pastrnak had the exact same market value according to the Athletics player model at $14.9 million. Sebastian Aho, his market value is $11.8 million according to the Athletics model. So yeah, I think that kind of lines up with it, right? Sebastian Aho, Elias Pettersson, both, two of the best young centers in the game, but Pettersson's just a better version of what Aho brings. And I think the stats back that up. So yeah, I would say to the listeners, if you haven't already, go check out our episode where we predicted Pettersson's next contract. Does Aho's contract change anything for me? Not really, just because I think Carolina and Vancouver are in different situations, and Pettersson's the better player. And spoiler alert, we definitely predicted that Pettersson's going to be making more than what Sebastian Aho just signed for on an annual basis.
Yeah, and I know you kind of shook your head when I said he's a lot better because, Aho's a good player, great player, really, really, really phenomenal player. And here I am saying, Pettersson's on another tier. I just firmly believe that Pettersson still has another level to him. And we just saw him pick up 100 points. I feel as if, like, he can do better, even better, having another full season with Kuzmenko, maybe a third guy who's more consistent. You brought up Besser, and just having like Filip Hronek there and having more stability and maybe not hitting as many crossbars and posts that Pettersson does hit. I think that point number is going to go up to a number that Aho will not be able to reach. I think that Pettersson can get to the 110, 115 point mark. And Aho, I think he's scratching the surface between 90 to 100 points. Like, the NHL is different now. A lot of points are happening. A lot of goal scoring is happening. You never know. Aho, again, could be a 100-point guy. But I don't think he's going to get to the level offensively like Pettersson can. And Pettersson's just that dude, man. Pettersson's just that dude. Pettersson's an alien. Who said that first in the market? Was that Botchford?
It was Botch, I believe, yeah.
Rest in peace to Botchford. He knows. He's an alien. And speaking of aliens, okay, Trevor, look at this image right here. Look at this image right here, and look at this one right here too. What is this? You may be asking, what is this?
It looks like a house with...
Dude, you don't know. Yeah. I got abducted by a UFO yesterday, for real. No joke. No joke. Okay, I'm joking. But I went to an art gallery, an exhibit, and I went through like gallery to gallery. Then all of a sudden we entered this huge warehouse space where the only thing in that warehouse space was this huge tent that was covered in holographic images that was later painted by the individuals who were at the gallery, and we're all wearing paint suits, and everyone just looked like they were in space, and weird music was playing. I don't know, man. Sometimes I don't even know how I get myself in these situations, but these guys found out that I was a host of one of the greatest hockey podcasts out there, and one of the greatest hockey podcasts in Australia, and they had to have me. They had to have me, at this exhibit, and it was a good time. And again, to bring it back to the Canucks, it was just making me think about Pettersson because the music was really, like, the ambiance was something that felt like I was in space. And the more and more I think about it, I think we're going to see it more this year than ever. Pettersson's really going to become an outlier. I'm not going to say he's the best player in the NHL. He'll never be that. McDavid's in the league. Draisaitl's here too, blah, blah, blah. Cale Makar. It's going to be hard to get up there, but I think more and more people are going to find out ASAP, and I'm seeing more YouTube videos about this, that there's no player out there like Pettersson. He's like on a planet of his own. When he's on, he's just different. He's just different. And all that's going to add up to an immense amount of money for Pettersson in that next contract. And you nailed it from the jump. Aho did this and took less because the team's winning. Dude, the Canucks haven't proven that. So the check is blank. The check is blank. And it's okay. It is what it is. That's what Vancouver gets for not winning. If they got to pay Pettersson a little bit more, a lot more, it is what it is. I'm okay with it if it means that he's going to be a Canuck forever.
Yeah, and you talk about Pettersson getting more notoriety. I think he's gotten quite a bit, considering we're out here on the West Coast. There's a bit of East Coast bias in terms of our players sometimes, but playoff success is really going to dictate that, right? I mean, if Pettersson truly wants to get noticed, if we want him to get the national, international attention he deserves, Canucks got to make some noise in the playoffs. And is that going to happen with this lineup? I think we're going to talk about that next. Okay, we're going to break down Rick Tocchet's Canucks, but first, I got to tell you, take your first swing at betting MLB on FanDuel. Get 10 times your first amount in bonus bets, up to $200. That's right, just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting on everything from the money line to the over-under to who you think is going to hit the first home run. All in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball.
By the way, before we get back to the show, I got to remind you again that every episode of Locked On Canucks will be available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcatcher at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all. Again, every episode of Locked On Canucks at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all. Let's get back to the show. Okay, you're back here on Locked On Canucks. A little all over the place in that first part of the episode, okay? A lot of baby talk, Trevor being a bad father, me being abducted by aliens, sort of, kind of, not really. Again, I can't believe I was put in that environment. Can I talk a little bit more about this? Again, I'm going to pull the image up because this was really, really weird. Shout out to Chaos Club. Shout out to, I think his name's like Pico. I think he's the artist that helped put this on. And again, if you're looking at the images on YouTube, this random tent in the middle of some random warehouse. And again, we were told to put on these paint suits and draw and paint all over this tent some really vulnerable things, like thinking about your childhood home, thinking about where you went to elementary school. We had to draw a yin yang sign. It was interesting. At the end of the day, Trevor, I think you can nail this philosophy more than I can. It all tied back to the point of this exhibit. It all tied back to your inner child, and having fun and being able to play. So if you're listening to this, like, have fun today. Like, try your best not to take life so seriously and just tap into doing what you enjoy doing. Don't wait till Friday, right? You know what I'm saying? Don't wait till Saturday. Just do it now. You live one life. Anyways, Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan, your team every day, Locked On Canucks. I'm excited for this because you're such a hockey nerd that in a span of 7 days, you went from, I'm going to predict this sexy lineup and do all these things and put these players together, boom, bam, take hours away. Your kids are like, yo, daddy, I want to play catch. And you're like, dude, I'm a hockey podcaster, okay? Let me do my thing. Can you shut up? I'm not playing with you. I got to put this lineup together. And then you did it again yesterday. You came back from a hard day at work, didn't bring no groceries home or nothing, went back into your office and put this lineup together that you think Tocchet is already assembling / confirmed. So I'm curious to see, what this lineup looks like.
Yeah, I went to my 1-month-old son when I got home. I said, "Get me a beer, son." And then I went to my room and I meditated and I saw the lineup. Okay, so this is what's actually going to happen on opening night for the Vancouver Canucks. Okay, so line one, we have Andrei Kuzmenko, Elias Pettersson, Ilya Mikheyev. Okay, Tocchet going back with what worked last season in terms of that trio. I mean, again, I'm still holding out hope that Besser ends up on this line. And I think it's possible. I think the underlying numbers are good. I think that's the best way to get the most out of Besser, but it just didn't happen. Okay, Tocchet just didn't listen to us here. I've seen, I showed it to Rob at Daily Hive. I think he did a lineup projection that I was reading this morning after I, already saw the future, and he had Beauvillier on line one. Last season, the underlying numbers for Beauvillier, Pettersson, and Kuzmenko were fantastic. And, towards the end of the season, it was Joshua who was playing on that line ahead of Beauvillier. So I just don't think Beauvillier is the guy to play up there. I do have Ilya Mikheyev there if he is healthy to go. And hey, I saw the future, okay? He's ready to go for opening night, okay?
I like it.
Line two.
I like that line. I like that line because
Yeah, it worked. It worked.
it
Not my favorite line, but it worked.
Because it worked, and it's also not that it really matters, but for whatever reason, this matters to me because he did it for the West Coast, the best coast. He did it for the Vancouver Canucks. He did it for a team that wasn't going to win. You know, he put his career on the line. Mikheyev did to prove to the people that this signing was worth it. I truly believe that. I think he heard the noise when the signing was made, and he started making a ton of money, and then it was his first year with the team, and I think that he was like, I got to make these people proud. I might risk my career playing on this one knee, but I'm going to do what it takes to prove that, you know what, when I'm on my game and even, on 1.5 knees, I'm a really good NHL player. And I'm excited to see more of that next season. I think he's a good piece to add to Kuzmenko and Pettersson's chemistry. So good job, good job, Trevor. Good job, Tocchet, imaginary Tocchet.
Oh, so this is the real Tocchet, just 3 months down the road. So I think on line 2, this is the biggest surprise to me, but Tocchet went with JT Miller, Brock Besser with Nils Höglander on line 2. So I'll say this, okay? I think going into camp, Phil DiGiuseppe is still the guy to beat from that spot. Now, he shouldn't be holding down that spot by any means, but that's who Tocchet liked last season. You look at the even strength minutes last season, and this surprised me, but DiGiuseppe averaged more even strength ice time than Kuzmenko and Garland. Okay. Phil DiGiuseppe, man. This guy was barely playing NHL games the last 2 seasons. Comes into the lineup. He's playing more than Kuzmenko, a near 40 goal scorer, and Garland was making almost $5 million. So I do think it's DiGiuseppe's spot to lose, but here's the thing with Höglander. I think he's probably on the outside looking in at training camp, maybe that 12th, 13th forward. He's got to knock the doors off at training camp, and I think he's going to do it. And I don't see him. I know his agent again talked about him being like a 4th line player to start the season. I just don't think that's the best spot for Höglander. So I have him blowing the doors off in training camp, and he's going to play with Miller and Besser on opening night for the Canucks.
No, I hope that's the case. And I feel like you and I are guys that should be rooting for guys like Phil DiGiuseppe because we kind of fit under that category of late bloomers and trying to figure it out and trying to make our mark in the pros. That being said, don't you think it's just way, way, way better for the Canucks to have a role like that filled with either, a Podkolzin or a Höglander, people that they drafted, they invested a lot in. This all being said, I think it's pretty clear that Tocchet is going to reward whoever brings it in training camp on every shift, every practice. Who's the most intense? And maybe, just maybe, Tocchet did that and he played DiGiuseppe a lot to show the rest of the team, like, dude, this is what it's going to take. This is what it's going to take. For real.
And Höglander's already done this, right? He already came into a camp, and, I know that was a weird camp because it was like Christmas time. Höglander already played in the SHL, and the team was basically starting cold in December. But Höglander came in and already proved it once. Who's to say he can't do it again, especially now with being demoted and being in the AHL for almost a full season? I bet this guy's going to be motivated to earn that top 6 role back and kind of taste that NHL glory that he once had. Here's what else Tocchet did. I'm going to go right through the bottom 6 here. So Tocchet has Beauvillier and Garland being the wingers for Teddy Blueger on the 3rd line. And on the 4th line, he has Joshua, Amon, and Vasily Podkolzin. Phil DiGiuseppe and Tanner Pearson sitting as your healthy scratches among the forward group.
Man, such a dark thing to say. Again, 2 dark things. And, we threw Phil DiGiuseppe off the team, off the roster after all he did last season. He was the hardest worker doing his thing.
He's still on the roster, right?
He's still collecting the check. He's still collecting the NHL check. But, I think for a journeyman, like, he just wants to play games. And then Tanner Pearson, man, his road to recovery, and it's all good. But you know what? Sit in the press box. Sit in the press box. And I think if that's the case, man, it's a tough business out there. We brought this up a couple weeks ago. Is Tanner Pearson being waived? We're talking about a team that's $4 million over the cap. Like, they got to do whatever it takes to be cap compliant.
It's dark for sure, but I think it's possible. Now, that being said, and we kind of went through this earlier this month, but the Canucks can get pretty much within $3,000 of the salary cap, which is what they want to do, at least based on my math. And if you do that, you can maximize Tucker Pullman's LTIR, and you can fit Pearson on the roster. I don't want to say comfortably, but you can fit him on the roster.
Dude, if they waive Pearson, is Pearson going to sue these guys?
Well, I mean, not to speculate, but I think that already could be on the table.
Hey,
But
man. Okay,
anyways,
move
just
on. Move on.
get well soon,
Move
Tanner
on.
Pearson. That's what Talk is going to do on opening night for the Canucks. On defense, it's Quinn Hughes and Ian Cole, Carson Soucy, Philip Peronic, and Christian Wolanin winning that job among the tough competition down there, and Tyler Myers now. I think the rationale with Wolanin, again, named the AHL's best defenseman last season. And I think you're kind of seeing this with Alvin too, is that I think the young guys really got to earn it to have their spot on the roster. Otherwise, let the guys marinate longer than they did in the betting era, and that was part of the rationale for putting Höglander in the minors last season. But, you're talking about Hirose making the lineup, Brisebois, Juleson, whoever else among that crop. Those younger guys, let them marinate unless they really blow the doors off in training camp. Whereas Wolanin's going to be 28 years old. He's already he is what he is for the most part here.
I can see that happening, and I can see the Vancouver Canucks, leaning on the fact that Akito has a two-way deal on that first year of the 2-year deal. So letting him prove it for a longer period of time in another pro league. I know they're huge fans of this guy, but again, giving Wolanin that spot off the jump and then letting Akito play a couple months in the AHL, and if they're not completely satisfied with Wolanin, plus see, the poise being consistently displayed by Akito in the AHL, I could see a swap there happen like in the near future. You know what I'm saying? I like the Beggsy. That a little bit safe, but a little bit risky as well, because you kept Podkolzin and Höglander in the lineup. And you know the saying, right? If you're scared to take a chance, how the F you gonna get rich? Right, Trevor Beggs? Right, 100%. Trevor Beggs?
100%.
It is what it is. Okay, Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Scratch that, your Canucks every day. And one of those days, was not yesterday. Not yesterday. I didn't drop an episode yesterday. I did make an episode. Did not have enough time to edit it. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Who knows? An exclusive episode full of your comments. Speaking of which, leave comments below. Give us your lineup. Give us your bold pick. For real, your bold pick. And answer this for me. Let's put this out there. Do you think both Höglander and Podkolzin make the team off the jump? Hey, speaking of Comment Corner, we'll get to that on the other side. Your team every day. Locked On Canucks, Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan. Do we have any ads on the YouTube side right now?
No, just taking a pee break. See you on the other side.
Okay. You're back, and we're back. Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan, utilizing those rest days. Sort of, kind of, not really. I do miss talking to Canucks fans when we don't have to make episodes. Like there's like a void there, We might as well do it, and I'm really appreciative of all the new subscribers, all the viewers, the OGs. And once again, if you're not a fan of the show, like us or hate us, who cares? We are all Canucks. We're all Canucks. For real. Trevor Beggs, you on there? Let me guess, yo. Henry was crying last night, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's been a good newborn so far. Giving us more sleep than my first, but he was up every hour last night, buddy.
And you're doing the right thing still. Like again, Trevor, I was poking fun at you earlier, but you're such a good dude, man. You're the type of guy that's letting the wife lay down, right? You're picking up the baby every time.
Yeah, I was a bit grumpy about it at 4 a.m. When he was like up for good, and I was like, this guy can't be waking up at 4 a.m. right now, or 4:20 or whatever it was. And I was like, no, well, I can be grumpy, but I'm gonna let my wife sleep.
You're a good guy, man. One love to you, Trevor Beggs, and one love to the people. Let's get to our favorite segment of the show, Comment Corner.
Welcome to Comment Corner, powered by Paraphrasing.
This comment comes from a man named IQ.
I know this is a hockey podcast, but the Barbie movie. It'll teach you how to hate men. And Trevor, stop being a doctor. Again, this is a hockey podcast. You don't need 8 hours of sleep. Every man is built different.
Wow, dude. Okay, come on. Is that the truth? Because I haven't seen one trailer. I've just seen it trending a lot on the socials, this whole Barbie movie thing, people wearing pink, going to the movie theaters, blah, blah, blah. Is this true? Is Barbie anti-man? Is that even possible?
I don't know, to be honest. So shout out to IQ for maybe increasing our IQ here about Barbie. But I thought I saw on the trailer that it was PG-13
Yeah.
on the commercial. So I thought it wasn't a kids movie, but I wasn't quite sure. But man-hating movie. Damn.
Oh
Man.
my God. Could
That's
you
that's
imagine
news to me.
like what? Okay, who are you? If you like, what type of man are you? Right? What type of man are you? If you get offended by the Barbie movie, it is what it is, right? 2023, sensitive times in the world. I will say this, and this is the utmost truth for real. For whatever reason, my girl and I were talking, things were getting emotional. We're hugging it out, like life, life, career. It happens, right? And I was giving her a hug, and I don't know if I just fell into the matrix, but I was patting her on the back, and I was like, "Don't worry, baby. Don't worry, baby. You know what? Let's hang out Thursday night. I'm gonna take you to see that Barbie movie. Everything will be fine." Me and her have never talked about the Barbie movie. Like, she hasn't mentioned it once. Like, we gotta watch this movie. I don't know why I threw that card out there.
So now
Oh
you're
man,
going. Are you going then?
I don't
Or
know.
are you gonna
We'll
listen
see,
to
man.
IQ's advice?
Honestly, like, no. I actually don't think we're going because I did bring it up later in the night when we had another conversation, and there's no enthusiasm, and I think it's just gonna be a cuddle thing, Just cuddle it out. Stay warm, stay cozy. It is what it is. Okay. Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs. That was another episode of Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Well, once again, okay, pay Pettersson. Just keep him here. Keep him here. You don't try getting the discount. Why? Because we're not winning. We're not winning any games. We're not a winner yet. You can't use that card. Take less. We're building a competitive team here, Pettersson. Sign the deal. No. Blank check. It is what it is. The salary cap will go up. And when the Canucks are contending for a Stanley Cup, that deal will look very, very, very cheap. Okay? Just keep Pettersson in Vancouver for 8 years. 8 years. That's a big one. Anywho, Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bowen. Back to Trevor Beggs. Sign us out.
All right. Shout out to the everydayers. And speaking of those everydayers like IQ, thanks for the comment. And I must have gotten less than 4 hours sleep last night, and I'm still here. I don't want to say thriving, but at least surviving. So yeah, sleep as much as you want. Life is short. Sleep as much as you want. Again, shout out to those everydayers, the occasional listeners. And if this is your first time listening, hey, late July, baby, we still here. We're going to still be here for you at least 3 days a week throughout the rest of the summer. And come September, it's back to full time, baby. Well, coming up next on Locked On Canucks, I want to talk about Elias Pettersson once again, okay? With Patrice Bergeron retiring, could Pettersson be maybe the front runner for the Selke heading into next season? So stay tuned for that here on Locked On Canucks. But for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowen, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.